Hi, this is Tawny K. Vance, and this is an introduction to JPEG files. Why your image format matters. So let's start off with a few file facts. JPEG is a lossy compression algorithm, which means it discards unimportant data from an image to reduce its size. So when we compress and we optimize our images, in order for it to become a smaller image, it discards unimportant data. The JPEG acronym stands for Joint Photographic Expert Groups, which was a name that was coined by the organization in 1986. And Windows will allow you to convert your JPEG file to a PDF file. So why the image formats you use matter. So we're going to talk about types of images you use that definitely affect your site's appearance. So first, let's talk about a couple categories. First is performance. Image formats can take up much more space than other formats, which can compromise your website's loading time. Appearance, some image formats contain more detail and higher quality resolutions than others. And scalability, it's important to know that when your image is stretched or shrunk too much, its quality will be compromised. So we're going to compare JPEG versus PNG and GIF files. The main benefits of a JPEG format are that it can display millions of colors beautifully, and it handles high compression levels. Also, images that have high color resolutions are best utilized by the JPEG compression. Typically, when we do lose some of our quality when we're optimizing images, but typically the only person that really sees that or knows that is the user and the designer. So that's good. The JPEG file is not a good format for images with sharp edges. So we learned that anything that has to do with cartoon illustrations or vector drawings, logos, icons, favicons, this is not the format that we want to use. Typically, that's going to be a PNG or a GIF format. So PNG stands for Portable Network Graphics, and they are just as important as JPEGs and used just as frequently as JPEGs. They also support a lot of colors. Typically, we learn that PNG are good for images that contain less color data. So what we've learned is that PNGs are best used for things that are like screenshots or snapshots of interfaces where we're seeing different types of transitions that are very dark going to very light backgrounds. We also can use them to support transparency, like for logos. So saving the images as a JPEG could result in a blurry edge and overall distorted presentation. So if I'm using this BYU image as something that we would want to save as a PNG, it's got some data that we would find a PNG would work much better than a JPEG. So now when we're talking about the GIF format, GIF stands for Graphics Interchange Format. And they have very specific uses, which typically are very much geared towards animation. So you can optimize GIF files too, but they don't work the same as a JPEG and PNG. You really want to use them very cautiously and typically only when you're displaying some kind of animation. And if we look at this photograph, this was a regular, beautiful, colorful photo that was saved as a PNG. And if you looked at the background, it's very distorted. So that's typically, even though we can save images as GIFs, it's not recommended, and it's better to use a JPEG or a PNG and save GIFs for animated items. So how do we choose the best image format to use on our websites? So a couple of thoughts. JPEGs and PNGs definitely make the best choice for the majority of your images, and highly recommend that you stick to the same format. So if you're going to use a JPEG, try to stick through that same format throughout your website. So if your website is mostly images, you're going to stay with a JPEG. If you're going to have a mix of interface photos because of some kind of technical item, you might want to use PNGs throughout your website. JPEGs do allow you to squeeze more performance out of your web pages, if that works for you, and if you want your website to load very quickly. If your concern is that all images look great and you have different types of images, then it might be good for you to use PNGs for your website. Final decision. So when it comes to what types of images you can use on your website, you have plenty of options. Best advice is to pick the format which allows you to display high quality images without slowing down your site significantly. And just a reminder, JPEG, this is the best format for all types of photographs. PNG, this format is perfect for screenshots and other types of imagery where there's not a lot of cutter data, great for rapid transitions and transparency. GIF, if you require animated graphics on your site, this is the best image format. So I hope this helps you in deciding for the future what is the best kind of image file format you should use, and good luck.